Mightier, an original short story by Jared I. McGee. To hold a pen is to be at war. Voltaire. Fountain pens being out of style is beyond annoying. Certainly, with all the technological advances that mark our world, we can and should have taken the best writing utensil that has ever existed and improved it to the extent that we who want to harken back to yesteryear when writing can also avoid having messy globs of ink gumming up our lives. Right? Right? Still, those pens, I guess, do still exist, not that their surviving matters all that much. The vast array of writing utensils available to a modern writer is almost unending, infinite. Erasable pens. Pens that can function upside down, get this, developed for space. Inks that are in every color one could ever hope for. In fact, some companies will match color swatches or pictures to give you the perfect color for your ink, just to make sure that those imagined colors can be attained. The actual writing functionality isn't the only focus of all things pen. Companies obsess over ensuring that prehension is nothing short of comfortable as a cloud, cloaking their pens in all sorts of foams and cushions and marshmallowy substances that are meant to make a writer's fingers avoid cramping during long, hard writing sessions. So, no matter how much verbiage one wants to vivisect their enemies with, no matter how much bombast one desires to bombard their enemies with, no matter how much antagonism one is driven to assail their enemies with, their hands will not fail them. No agita as mundane as achy joints will stop the flow of a modern wordsmith. The cushioning is not useless then. It does serve a practical, salubrious purpose. Purpose. Pragmatism. Practicality. Is that what pens are now? Once, they were works of art with which one could create works of art. Works of anger, works of angst. But again, at least the pen still has its place in the world. In that way, you can't deny that the pen is mightier than the poor, abandoned sword. Swords are relegated to pomp and ceremony. Military men sometimes get to carry swords with their dress uniforms. Navy men in gleaming white walk under them for their weddings. Backward nations have more swords than the purportedly forward-thinking, self-proclaimed advanced nations of this world. They still use them too. By all means, a sword, even an old one, even a ceremonial one, can kill you, can poke you. A sharp, pointy piece of metal is a sharp, pointy piece of metal at the end of the day. End of conversation. But swords have not been given the opportunity to become something more. They have not been allowed to spread out over the corners of the globe, being reinvented 1,000,000 times over and used hourly in all those corners. Humanity cannot accept that our relationship with the sword is over either. We cling to olden days, still telling and retelling the tired stories of knights and the storming of beaches and honorable duels from history. We want swords to be of great import. But we are all deluded. We just can't break up with the idea. The pen and its products are not all that great, though. That cliched adage is a crock of shit. If the pen were really mightier, words would have more power than they do when scratched and scrawled along a piece of paper. Maybe that's why they don't. Parchment and vellum and papyrus are more permanent than our cheap pulp-borne paper. Maybe the fates or the gods or the whatevers out there won't empower the pen anymore because of this lack of commitment. Maybe we are offending the muses, degrading our thoughts. If the pen were really mightier, words would stop loved ones from leaving, holding them fast against wayward siren songs that cause people to leave those that openly and truly adore them. If the pen were really mightier, words would be able to carry love unfiltered, electrifying those that receive a message of kindness and devotion, even when they are miles and years away from the wordsmith doing the sending. If the pen were really mightier, suicide notes would change the lives of all those that came into contact with them, making those readers of fell final words truly appreciate the person lost and those still yet with them. If the pen were really, really mightier, well, we who write would be something better than we are. Pens and swords, swords and pens. Swords kill, pens do not. Words do not. Swords celebrate, pens try. Words fall woefully short. Swords spill blood, a resonant act. Pens spill ink, an annoyance. Be it poetry, prose, haiku, or hackneyed happy birthday card, words abound right along with the myriad pens that now inhabit the world. Like those pens, they have become cheap and varied and far, far less artful. They have become more common, yet less becoming. They, in the bard's own words, are full of sound and fury, but they signify absolutely nothing. The strokes of the pen need deliberation as much as the sword needs swiftness, whispers Julia Ward Howe. Ah, how little knowledge does a man acquire in his life. He gathers it up like water, but like water it runs between his fingers, and yet, if his hands be but wet as though with dew, behold a generation of fools call out, "See, he is a wise man. Is it not so?" asked H. Rider Haggard of the universe. if you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is, where they should be. Now, put the foundations under them. Henry David Thoreau pompously advises in his famed Walden. Words, words, words. Quotes, quotes, quotes. Centuries of grasping at an immortality that cannot come. Shifting sands. Nothing more than slanders. Thank you for listening to Mightier, the second short story based upon an Inktober or Writetober prompt. All sounds and music that you hear come from freesound.org and are being used under Creative Commons public domain dedication licenses. This second story this week does it for prose. We will be back in 2 weeks with 2 more stories, one of which is rather grisly and violent, so for those that maybe aren't as impressed with the more philosophical works, come back again in 2 weeks' time, and we'll do what we do best here at Prose, get a little weird and get a little violent. Until then, take care of each other out there. Thank you for listening, and go find an adventure and live it. All my thanks to you. Goodbye until next time.